enlivening the full potential of life, just because all the procedure of evolution is motivated by the nature of life itself, and therefore the unfoldment of the full value of awareness is not opposed to its full realization. Had it not been the nature of life to evolve to its fullest glory, it would not have been possible for our awareness to open to this field of change wherein all the laws of nature are functioning, to this mechanics of change. This would not have been possible if it was not the nature of life. But fortunately, it's the nature of life to evolve. And the steps of evolution are structured in change. Change is in the cycle of rest and activity, rest and activity, rest and activity, in the direction of the highest. So this whole process of living in a spontaneous manner is in the direction of change, in the direction of evolution. And so what we have to do is just find some field where the mechanics of change could be directly comprehended by us. And when we want to have a rose, it's better, it's easier, and it's possible. If the rose is at hand, pick it up, finished. If the rose is at a distance, so to pick up a thing at a distance may be difficult. To pick up a thing which is at hand must be very easy. From this common sense, we search the value of change nearest to us. What we are doing now is trying to feel our way, to grip the basic principle of evolution. Just we are feeling our way on the level of common sense. Where is the change nearest to us? We know our moods change, our thoughts change, one thought to the other thought, and on the basis of thought the activity changes. So this range of our own activity, inner or outer, whatever, but this field of activity is worth investigating into. Field of when we want to cognize the value of change, and from there we want to inherit the impulse, basic impulse of evolution, which is being conducted by all the laws of nature working at that level. So we want to own the home of all the laws of nature on the level of our awareness, so that our awareness serves the purpose of evolution. And the purpose of evolution is served in the unbounded state of our awareness. That means our bound awareness of today, or our awareness of the waking or dreaming and sleeping, could enjoy that reality of the unboundedness. And for that, we want to experience the phenomenon of change. And change we find within ourselves. Thoughts change. And in order to experience the change of thought, we open our awareness to a thought. And in a natural way, what we find is thoughts come to us naturally. A very great friend of ours, the very nature of life, the movement gets generated on the level of our awareness, and that is the quality of a thought. The movement gets generated on the level of our awareness, and that is a thought. We experience that, and then what we find is, in a natural way, we start to experience the finer value of the thought, finer value of the thought, finer value of the thought. We open our awareness in the direction opposite to the direction in which the thought has developed. And this we understand by saying that the thought develops from within us as an air bubble develops from the bottom of the lake, and as it comes up it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. It comes on the surface and it explodes, and then we appreciate it as a bubble. Even though we appreciate the bubble on the surface, but we know intuitively, intellectually, we know that the thought has arisen from the bottom of the lake and it was coming bigger and bigger, and on the surface it explodes. When we start to experience the thought on the conscious thinking level, we experience that our awareness opens to the finer values of the thought, to the more infant states of the thought bubble. And in this experience of the minimizing of the mental activity, we experience the procedure through which the thought develops. We experience the more infant states of a thought. But in this, we are experiencing how from one state to the other state the thought develops. This, now, if we can do that, then in order to experience the finer state of the thought and finer state of the thought, what will happen is our awareness will be more and more wide awake. When we are busy, we don't experience what a thought is. In order to experience the thought, all the activity of the outside, all the senses, everything is closed, and then we experience what a thought is. And in order to experience still finer state of the thought, all the outer perceptions close still more firmly. And then inner awareness, because one has to be more and more alert to experience more and more refined values of the thought. One has to be absolutely alert in order to experience the most refined state of the thought, and one has to be really absolute, in the state of absolute alertness, in order to directly comprehend that unboundedness of awareness. And in so doing means in allowing the mental activity to settle down in such as natural, systematic, spontaneous manner, what we are doing? We are giving a direction to the activity of the brain to take that shape in which it will be able to produce that unbounded awareness. And then we come back to the gross experience of the thought, and then we go back to the experience of the subtle state of the thought and the experience of the unbounded. And then we come back to the gross, and then we go back to... We go back means our awareness travels from the finer values to the finest, and then from the finest to the gross value of the thought. When our awareness is swinging from these two, from the gross to the subtle to the transcendent, when our awareness is swinging, what is happening? The activity of the brain is swinging from one style to the other style. The activity of the brain is swinging from one style to the other style. The whole physiology of the brain is swinging from one style to the other style. The whole chemistry of the brain is swinging from one style to the other style. The whole biological elements in the brain are swinging from one value to the other. All the electrical impulses gaining a swing from one value to the other. The entire system is swinging from one value of activity to the other value of the activity, and swinging this physical material existence from one value to the other. We are creating a habit in the nervous system to maintain that activity which is most rewarding. And most rewarding on the subjective level of awareness is that unbounded field of life. that wakefulness which knows no boundaries, unbounded awareness. It's fulfilling. It is the target of all activity. It is the goal of all progress. And one knows what an achievement on the way to ultimate fulfillment is. One wants this and one achieves this. And what a joy of one achievement. And then one wants this and achieves this. What a joy. Every level of achievement produces a joy. Every level of achievement produces a joy. And when the state of unbounded is comprehended, that is the fulfillment of all these aspirations of progress, and therefore it is infinite joy. The bliss consciousness. It's the bliss consciousness. Pure consciousness is bliss consciousness. It's fulfilling. It's the infinitely fulfilling value of life. Well, bliss consciousness. And because this production of the brain activity, this projection of the unbounded state of consciousness, which in its character is bliss consciousness, is the production of the brain activity. Because of this, the brain activity likes to maintain that style. The brain wants to function in that manner. The brain wants to function in that manner. And therefore, when we give swings to the activity of the nervous system, then the nervous system becomes habituated to maintain that. And because that is most fulfilling state of activity, the nervous system gets used to being active in that manner. And this is the way, this is the direct path of spiritual development of creative intelligence. This is the spiritual message. Whether we talk in terms of creativity and have a direction of unfoldment of the full potential of life in the light of production in the factories, or the light of development in the technology, or the research in the science, whether we talk in that terms or we directly talk in terms of the development of the spiritual value. Spiritual development, it amounts to be the same. And same means swinging the nervous system from one style of activity to the other style of activity, and to extremes of activity, swinging back and forth, in order that the nervous system becomes habituated to produce that state of awareness which is unbounded, which is spiritual content of life. The whole value of spiritual development is in making every aspect of a relative life as complete as it is physically possible, and therefore as fulfilling as it is spiritually possible, as fulfilling as it is subjectively possible. This is the story of spiritual development. The process of transcendental meditation is just this process, which uses the nature of mind to change. And the mind changes from one level of thought to the other level of thought, and conscious awareness travels from one level of change to the other level of change, from one level of thought to the other level of thought. And in this transference from one level of thought to the other level of thought, what one cognizes is change, till the goal of all change is received in the comprehension of the unbounded, which then knows no change. Because that's the goal of all aspirations of change, that's the goal of all progress, that's the goal of evolution, and therefore there is no further evolution from there. Transcendental meditation, making use of this natural tendency of life to grow, it opens that value of change to one's awareness, and comprehending the value of change in a successive way from gross change to the subtle change, the awareness opens to the non-changing element, which is pure spiritual value of life. Transcendental meditation is in this way we find that this procedure where the awareness transcends one expression of thought to the other. It transcends from one value of life to the other. This transcending the value, this changing the value, this experiencing finer and finer state of the thought till the thought is finally transcended and the transcendental unbounded awareness is gained. This procedure is the most spontaneous, natural procedure of developing the spiritual value of life, just because it uses nothing other than the nature of life itself. This is the understanding of the mechanics of spiritual development, and along with this understanding of the development of the spiritual value of life, what we have seen is we have understood the whole range of life. The whole range of life, from its unmanifest unbounded value to its manifest mental values, and then to its manifest objective value, the brain, consciousness, and the brain projects itself into the gross structure of the body. So the body and the brain and the consciousness and the pure field of consciousness, the state of being, this whole range of existence is analyzed, and the mechanics of development of one stage of life to the other is also understood in this course of spiritual development. There is no mysticism for spiritual development in this scientific age. Just because we are in a habit of investigating everything in such a subjective way that it is purely objective. This course is a part of the science of creative intelligence. This course of development of the spiritual life is an aspect of the science of creative intelligence, a systematic study of the source, course, and goal of creativity. The source, course, and goal of intelligence. The source, course, and goal of existence. In this scientific age, spiritual development is a concrete reality. It is the reality of a physical, material level. The functioning of the brain that gets adjusted into that style of functioning which can only produce pure consciousness. And in this way, bringing the nervous system to habituation of maintaining that level of consciousness, we go through the process of spiritual development. The spiritual development in every age has been talked about in the language of that age. Now we have created for ourselves a scientific age, a systematic age, an age where knowledge is systematically scrutinized and gained so that it's not faulty, it's not incomplete. The knowledge is complete in this generation because this is the generation of the scientific age. Scientifically, when we analyze, and scientifically analyze means objectively we investigate, and the investigation of the values of consciousness objectively is in the field of physiology, neurology, biology, biochemistry, which analyzes all the different parts of the brain and assigns values to it. It's the wholeness that is consciousness. The wholeness is produced. And we have seen that it's already there, only with the functioning of the brain, it starts to be lively, it starts to become a living reality. And that is why, when the brain doesn't function, consciousness is not there. It's not there in its manifest form, in its lively form. Otherwise, it's there in its absolute value. What we want is the absolute value to become a living reality on the level of awareness. And for that, we have to adjust the functioning of the nervous system. And for that, We maintain all kinds of procedures whereby we use the word purity, the purity of the different values of the acids and the alkaline and all the minerals and all the electrical impulses. The value of these is capable of changing to more refined values, more and more refined and more refined, because it is in the most refined style of functioning of the nervous system that the unbounded awareness depends. So all that maintains the refined state of the body. Everything that disallows the body to become rough and crude will be helpful to this spontaneous procedure of opening our awareness to the transcendental value of pure spiritual content of life. So in this scientific age, we speak of the spiritual development in terms of physiology, neurology, biology, in terms of measurable quantities on the level of material existence of the nervous system. So we have a measurable quantity. So much of experiments have been done in the field of brain waves and all that. You will see all those charts that are there. And these charts indicate the direction that transcendental meditation does produce that kind of brain functioning which is capable of enriching the not only the mental activities but the connection between the mind and the body. The reaction time increases, improved motor performance, that coordination of the mind with the senses, reaction increases. So all these scientific experiments made on physiology and psychology and the behavioral patterns of the meditators, all these various scientific experiments show that the developing value of consciousness, the changing patterns of the brain functioning are a measurable quantity today, and therefore the amount of spiritual development that one gains day after day is now no more a fantasy or only a metaphysical reality, but it is on the physical terms of very practical, concrete values of life. This is this scientific age where our understanding can be verified objectively. If we talk of consciousness, we can measure consciousness psychologically and for its parallel effects in physiology, and we can measure the effect of such a psychology based on such a physiology on different values of sociology. So today we stand on very convinced and unfailing grounds of gaining knowledge, and because gaining knowledge of the ultimate value of life, of the spiritual value of life, is the basis of all developments, we aim at this. First, we want every developing man to gain the awareness of this unbounded, pure spiritual content of life, and then we'll be developing an integrated society of integrated individuals. Transcendental meditation concerns itself with the individual life, but it is the quality of the individual life that speaks for the quality of society, and speaks for the progress of society, and speaks for the dignity and power of the society. So it is this spiritual development through the regular practice of transcendental meditation and the knowledge gained through the courses on science of creative intelligence and insight into all these various sciences and the laws of nature, that completes the whole study of spiritual development. It's something, spiritual development is such a scientific reality today. We speak in the current coin, we speak in the current language where people can understand. This is the path of spiritual unfoldment. Simple, natural, effortless, proven path of transcendental meditation to nourish the very basis of life, to enliven the very basis of life, and thereby bring nourishment to all values of living. This is our contribution to life and progress today. Spiritual development through a scientifically validated natural procedure of transcendental meditation. Jai Gurudev.